All right, last up, we're going to do Jon Stewart versus Jon Stewart. And all right, let's see what we got. Okay, so let's do new Mego Jon Stewart first, shall we? All right, taking a look at Jon Stewart. Wow. So I've got a badly stitched suit back here in the back. That's gonna have to be trimmed. Let's see if we can do a little trimming of that right off the bat, because that is going to really mess with my head. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay, the suit. The stitching along the suit, I hate to ask, but why, knowing that if they were screen printing the suit, that the green would not screen print over the black thread, why not just sew it with, at least in this section where the Velcro is at, they could have gotten away with sewing it with green thread. Green thread would have been much more preferable. No surprises on the body, although I'm still thinking that this brown is not quite the same brown as what we've seen on the Muhammad Ali figure. I'll have to pull an Ali figure that I have loose and see what we got there. Okay. All of this white on the suit, where that came from, I don't know. But oh, that's pretty bad. I mean, that's terribly bad. That's like, holy moly, where did that come from? That wasn't even there that long ago. All I did was unravel the suit to take off the arm. And as soon as I did that, this is a defect in this suit. Wow, that's just, wow. That's unbelievable. That is a defect in this. I took the arm off of this figure. All I did was undo this, take this off like so, and pull it down because it's gray underneath. They screen printed over gray, which they shouldn't have done. They should have used black actual fabric, or they should have used green fabric and screen printed it black over that. That's just disgusting. That is just terrible, Mego. That is poor quality right there. So now I have a figure. Look at that. I have a figure now that's going to have all of this gray, whitish fuzz throughout the costume. That is just freaking disgusting. I mean, I can't say it any plainer. And it just keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming out. They need to seriously fix this. Oh my gosh. What the hell happened with this suit? And I can't pull it out because it's part of it. So I will be trimming this consistently to try to get this fixed. That is just wow. I cannot believe how bad that is. That is just really just wow. Wow, bad. Bad, 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 bad. For what I paid for this, that would make me want my money back. Golly. Okay, moving on. The Rubbery Boots. Don't know if I'm a fan. The suit itself continues to have more issues. Every time you pull at something or bend something, those white ball, the gray underneath of this fabric keeps shredding. You won't get much posability out of this figure because the fabric used to make this suit was the wrong type of fabric to begin with. So basically, here's the deal. Don't take the suit off to check the figure for any reason. If you do, you're going to highly regret it. The only way I could see fixing this as a customizer would be to have to dye, maybe, if you're lucky, the whole suit again. Dye should have been used instead of screen printing, because over this gray, look at that, it just keeps coming out. There's just, I am so disgusted right now. I am thoroughly disgusted. Look at that. I am thoroughly disgusted with this. And what do? Do you contact the company you bought it from and say, hey, my Green Lantern is shredding. Literally, it is shredding its suit. Well, that kind of botches the whole which argument of which Green Lantern is better. Because if I pull back in the Mattel Green Lantern, I definitely don't have those issues with the suit. Not one issue whatsoever. I have one small strand, but if I take on my original Green Lantern and cut that small strand, where is it at? It just popped up. There it is. If I cut that small strand, the fact that this suit is stitched between green material and black material definitely saves it. Man, one of my most anticipated happening figures that I wanted, and the Mattel version easily beats it hands down. Simply just because the suit is stitched. All right. So here's our Mattel Green Lantern. And here is our Mego 2021 Green Lantern. The suit is the biggest disappointment. I mean, you just cannot get around how terrible that suit looks. You just cannot. Now, let's look at the hands. Now, so he's supposed to hold his Green Lantern, but he can't because the fist, when it was manufactured closed. Here we go. If I can show you with not any of the suit fuzzies. See that? It's closed. Which would be okay if the lantern was on a post where it would stick in much like a sword straight into his hand. But it's not. The lantern is closed. So how do you put something that's closed in an already closed hand? Well, you can't. You'd have to replace the hand. There's more stitching that's coming undone. This is just terrible. So you'd have to cut the hand. You'd have to cut the finger right inside the fist, there between the first finger and the thumb, to get him to hold the lantern. Otherwise, he holds it Something like that. All I can say to that is, what the ass? Seriously. Okay, so we've got the worst suit ever made in an 8-inch action figure history. We have a closed fist that should have just a regular Mego hand, a regular cupped Mego hand like this would have been fine to hold the lantern. I mean, it works for the Mattel. Look at that. Mattel has a regular cupped hand, and it holds the lantern just fine. So if the Mattel had a regular cupped hand, why couldn't Mego have done the same for this figure to hold the lantern? That's a great big mystery. Had the suit not started coming undone, I mean, you can't even pull the arm back without the suit stretching, and when it stretches, it comes undone. This ruined, how much did I pay for this? This ruined a $17 figure easily just by choosing this material. This material was not the material to choose to make this suit. It just wasn't. I don't know why it was chosen, but it was the wrong material to choose. And see, my minor ADHD is kicking in right now. I'm about to be super annoyed. It is just ridiculous. It is embarrassing. Embarrassing to have a figure do this. I just flexed his elbow and fibers came right out the back side of the elbow. You're going to have to remake the suit. There is just no way this is acceptable in any shape or form. As an action figure manufacturer, Mego should be embarrassed by this suit. The material used in comparison, the material used for the Flash's suit, none of that. I have posed this Flash, made him into runner poses, elbows, nothing. Nothing comes up. No weird material, nothing. It's just the simple fact that a corner was majorly cut. But yeah, I'm just, wow. I am totally wow. Wow. All right, last piece, because I wanted to do this part, and I wanted to do a compare and contrast, but I'm having a hard time to focus to do this, but we're going to try to get through this. The fists, of course, Mattel has the more detailed ring. Mego phoned it in with just a little dab of green paint. So you could customize that and fix that as well. The lanterns are actually to me, they look like the exact same lantern. Yep, they are. They are the exact same lantern. The same one that was used with the Mattel is used with the Mego. Same handles. The only difference is this handle's much wider, this handle's much smaller. This lantern is taller than it is wide, while this one is shorter and wide, which is more proper to an actual Green Lantern lantern. So, and it was probably done on purpose this way, making it taller and thinner to avoid a copyright issue. And of course, the color of the plastic is also darker as well. Well, that's it for this comparison. I really wanted to like the newer Mego Jon Stewart, But the issues plaguing this material on this costume, it just totally destroys any love for the figure. Totally. All right. So now let's do a little follow-up. As you well know, I purchased 2 of the Mego Green Lanterns action figures. And as well known with these figures, there was a factory problem in which the suits, when you do any type of movement in the suits, the fabric just pulls out like so. And you can see how it piles right out of there in nice white grayish strands all throughout the suit. Moving the legs causes it to come up, etc. So these suits are basically just trash. I don't know why this material was even used. It's like it's the cheapest material that could ever be found on market. It was used, and the suits just produce all these grayish strands that just come right out of the suit, like the suit is just falling apart. So Mego announced that, as you can see in the picture here, that suits would be available to replace by ordering via Doc Mego. So here's my Doc Mego order, and I ordered 2 replacement suits for these 2 Green Lanterns. The order came in, so now let's see what we've got here. And to be fair, it's the first time opening it, of course, as you can see. Paul Clark, Dr. Mego. Sure you can see that. Okay. And I've been out of town working and also going to conventions. So this has just been sitting here on my work table when it came in. So let's see what we've got, shall we? All right. Set that up there. A nice big bag of stuff from Dr. Mego. And as you can see, looks like right there, the new Green Lantern replacement suits. Now let's see what's different with these replacement suits. And I'm also, in the interest of keeping up with my order, well, what did I do with it? Well, I had a marker. Oh, there it is. Going to put 2R, meaning 2 received. So I did receive my suits from Doc Mego. Let's see what we've got. So, pulling out the suits, first, I notice that there's a piece of cloth to protect the Velcro. That's nice. Micro Velcro on either side to keep it closed. This here is more like a screen printed / leather that's been stitched, as you can see there, along the suit, over the suit, and it looks like it's been heat bonded because it's not stitched below the line right there. So leather, stitched there, and then heat sealed. Cuffs are the same way, heat sealed, but then stitched at the wrists. Now those wrists are rather small, so this is going to be interesting to see if those hands fit through there. The material is actually proper stretchy spandex material. So that's good in itself. So now let's take one of these Jon Stewarts. Let's discard this old suit here. Again, one minor complaint on this is that the brown used for this version of an African American is rather gray. It's kind of a brownish gray. I know that it's supposed to represent him being dark-skinned, but the Muhammad Ali was much better in representing the skin tone for African Americans. That's the skin tone and color that they should have used replicating for Jon Stewart. This is more of the grayish brown, the same they used for the Apollo Creed figure. It's not flattering, not even in the slightest. Again, the Muhammad Ali was the best skin tone color for an African American figure they produced. So if you have that 2019 Muhammad Ali from Wave 4 and you want to swap bodies for a proper skin tone, that's the one I would recommend. And then you just have to repaint Jon's face. But this particular skin tone, I mean, it's grayish, it's almost grayish brown. It's like it just wasn't mixed properly when they made the plastic. But at this point, we're kind of just in the mode of, let's just try to get a complete figure, just because, you know, we're at the point now where it's like, well, unfortunately, we kind of have to live with these choices. Sad choices, but we've got to live with them irregardless. So at this point, we're just looking for a happy medium, as my grandfather used to say. Just get to a happy medium. And as I feared, it is kind of tight to get that over the fist. Can be done though without having to remove the fist through a boil and pop. So that's a plus. Otherwise, yes, you would have to boil and pop off the fists, get the wrists through the cuffs, and then this one's being uber stubborn. It may prove me wrong. I may have to go ahead and, oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, almost took the arm off. See, that's why you got to be careful. Otherwise, yeah, you will run into having to boil and pop that, because that thumb is what's getting in the way. That thumb is the major problem here. Once you can get it around that thumb and not tear the leather, then you got it. Okay, so now let's do our clothes. Let's see what we got. Okay, that neck is just uber tight there. Again, happy medium. It's not completely perfect, but we're wanting to get to just a happy, livable medium with this figure. Okay, so now let's show off what we got here. So here is Jon Stewart. Let me make sure we're getting a good shot of this. All right. So here's the Jon Stewart figure in the new suit. The new replacement suit, or you could call it the, should have been the proper suit to begin with. This probably needed to be just a little bit lower, perhaps about an eighth of an inch. If the collar was about an eighth of an inch less, there wouldn't be this bunch up underneath the neck area. So you can't really smooth it down, because if you pull it on the shoulders, it just isn't going to go anywhere, period. So, can we fold it under? Probably not. That's the first thought. So can we fold it under? But since it's leather, I doubt that very seriously. But if we could just fold it under the chin and then come back to the back side and wrap it there. Makes it a little bit better. You can definitely tell it's bunched once you look at it from the side. So it's not ideal, but at least this way it's not bunched completely like it's trying to override his lip and the bottom of his chin. So it's not perfect on the collar, but I mean, as far as if we're going to nitpick and say an improvement over this collar, sure. The emblem is still not quite what it needs to be. Okay? And for that, I'm going to insert this picture here from the comic Jon Stewart that shows you exactly what the emblem is supposed to look like. And then we're going to do a comparison with the retro action Jon Stewart. Now, this emblem, and the original suit emblem. Basically, they reduplicated this emblem onto this suit. Okay? So you still have the same proportions, the same design, and it looks rather small. Compare it to the retro action emblem, which is actually sized perfectly and a lot bigger than this one. I mean, there really isn't much that needed to be done. It just needed to be properly resized in the circle and here to fill out more. Could have been a choice that DC enforced upon them. Could have been just a lazy screen printer. I don't know, but it's definitely noticeable. So I'll be replacing that with a proper one. From the picture I just showed here, I go showing it to you again. From the comic, that's the proper way the logo should look on his chest. Now let's look at the suit. We'll do our bends. There we are at the elbow. And since it's proper stretchy material, much like the same material used in the retro action Green Lantern, that same nice stretchy spandex, perfectly stitched, nothing coming undone. That leather is working really nicely there. Twist, turn, no coming up. Raise his arm, come back down, nothing pulled off. Alignment is just slightly off on this side, but it's not very noticeable. On one of these suits, it was very noticeable that it didn't match up. So, yeah, finally, a proper suit for a proper hero. And I can definitely say I am happy. There's one small string, but we're going to take care of that. Actually, Exacto would pull it. There we go. All right. Now, why are fans so picky about this character? This is what I would call my closing note on this particular character. Well, let's be honest. Let's address the elephant in the room. How many African American characters are there in the Mego line? Okay, let's see. Falcon and Uhura from the original series. That's it. You have from Mego's Return, you have Muhammad Ali, and you have Apollo, and you have Jon Stewart, and you have the atrocity that's Michael Berman. So we're talking about in total entire Migos history, 6 figures. So yeah, that's probably why. There's very few persons of color represented in the Mego line. I mean, God, we only have one Asian character in the whole entire line, and that's Sulu, which is kind of weird. And we have few African American characters. No African American females, unless you count African American Dynamite, which is very hard to find and has never been replicated. You count Tootie as well, but yeah, splitting hairs. But this is a fan-beloved character. It represents one of Mego's attempts to, or New Mego's attempts to recreate the magic of the world's greatest superheroes line. And for many, many African American collectors, Jon Stewart is one of the top heroes that many of us collect because he's well represented out in the market. There's tons of Jon Stewart figures in just about every line you can think of. I mean, even McFarlane did 2 in his recent line, so that's just how well loved the character is. But yeah, so for many of us, this was like, really? You know? So now he's better represented. Still not too keen on these boots because these boots do not enable him to stand. More solid boots would be better. Definitely helps with the standing. But minor quibbles aside, that collar still bothers me somewhat. Minor quibbles aside, now the figure I can definitely say is much better. If with this suit it was a 3 out of a 10, this definitely bumps it up to at least a solid 7. What would bring it up to be a solid 10? Solid boots for one. A hand that's actually open to hold the lantern. And this collar. 1/8 of an inch smaller. So we wouldn't have to do things like this to get it to look correct for a proper head turn. That would give it a solid 10. You know, some people quibble about the ring, and you know, the ring is actually on the wrong hand. It's not the ring, I mean, not the right hand, but the right finger. They're married to the core. What's your ring finger? This one, not this one. So someone was asleep at the wheel on that. That needs to be fixed. So those little minor quibbles would make it a solid 10 out of 10 if all those were fixed. But as it is, it's a solid 7 for the effort now that the suit has been replaced. Yep, same with my other one. Wrong ring finger. Oh, such a terrible suit, but I mean, even then, that's properly lowered. That's nice, but again, like I said, it just bunches right there underneath the neck. Okay, So, if you have a Mego Green Lantern figure, I highly recommend you contact Dr. Mego, get a replacement suit. I'm sure as time will tell, these sealed in the package people haven't opened might become somewhat of a museum piece or a much talked about collector piece when Mego put out a character with a shitty suit. You know, who knows what the value of it will be then. But if you're going to display, if you're going to put into a diorama, if you're going to enjoy your toys, I definitely recommend that you contact Dr. Mego and get a replacement suit, because the suit elevates it easily from a 3 to a 7. Easily. Oh, and replace your logo. If you feel like it, hit me up. I'll have logos available soon, and I'll be happy to send you one. I'm a good guy. I don't mind sending you a replacement logo. On your own dime, of course, but oh yeah, I'll send you a replacement logo. Alrighty, that's all for today. I'm going to go ahead and replace this other suit on this other Green Lantern, but feel free to like, subscribe, comment, and as always, hashtag #IJustWantMyToys, hashtag customizing19. Until next time.